Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of my table talks. This week I'm here with my favorite guest, my husband Jeffrey. Some of you may know him, some of you may not.
And River.
Oh yes, and River. She's actually my favorite, but anyway. We're just gonna do a little bit of how we met, little background into dating, but mainly we're gonna talk about a question that I get asked about a lot, and most of you would know this, that we got married this last March during all of the COVID stuff. So just gonna talk a little bit about how, we both dealt with it, how we felt emotionally, things that literally got changed in the moment. I know a lot of you got married around the same time, or some of you are still planning a wedding and you're kind of wondering, okay, how do I deal with this? Even just how it's gonna be with all the stipulations that are on us from the government right now and how that plays such a big factor into all of it. So we're just gonna kind of talk about that. First of all, if you don't know, we literally met in the nursery. And we have been raised in the same church. His parents started coming to our church when he was literally before he was born.
Probably 30 years ago.
Yeah. So it's been a very long time. We've known each other our whole lives, obviously. And when we were kids, I don't know about him, maybe a little bit here and there, but I had the big crush on him. Anyway.
That changed later.
Yeah, so it started off, I really had the biggest crush on him when I was a kid. Most of you have heard me say this, and just from my Instagram caption even, that from the time I was literally like 5, I was saying, oh, I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna marry Jeffrey Weaver. And I always felt like from a young age that I just kind of knew this was the guy I was gonna be with. And so time went on, school, we were, friends when we were younger.
7th grade bully came.
Yeah, he was definitely.
That changed your mind a little
yeah,
bit.
Yeah. 7th and 8th grade, he definitely was not my biggest, or I should say, I just didn't really like him. He was kind of the school bully.
Oh, not the entire school.
Okay, at least the girls in my class, and they can all vouch for me on that.
All 7th grade boys go to that stage.
Well, whatever.
Where you think picking on them is
It was
funny.
horrible, very horrible. So I think around then I was like,
L's on your papers
this
and-
guy is just not gonna work. We are not gonna be friends. So anyway, once we got past that, high school, we were kind of friends. We were both like the quieter type people. We didn't, either one of us really like go after school and hang out with friends, have sleepovers. And we definitely did have like different friend groups too. So we weren't really that close. And I won't get all the details because that would be a very long story. And some of you know that. But in college, we kind of talked a little bit, and then we really got serious more in my senior year. So it's been like 2 years really of full on us talking, or I guess no, 3, 2 years of dating. I actually asked.
I asked you to the Christmas banquet.
Yes.
Our senior year, and then we kind of
The year after that, same time, so December's kind of like a thing for us. The year after that, I actually asked him to be my boyfriend.
Not because I didn't ask.
Yes, not because he didn't want to ask her, like it was too long. Actually, I'm just a very like fearful person. I had gone through a very long time of just being unsure, not ready to commit. And that's been a good thing in my life because I'm careful, but it's also been like a downfall because I have a lot of fear when I go to make big decisions. So anyway, I had kind of been the one that was holding us up for the most part, like becoming official. And so on Christmas Eve, a couple weeks before that, I kind of gotten this idea like, ooh, I'm gonna totally flip these tables and I'm gonna ask him on Christmas Eve. So I did this thing where I did like all the different senses. So I said, being with you just makes sense. So I did taste, smell, all those kind of things.
Different gifts for each
right.
one. Like,
And then I ended with the last one, just literally
just because.
just because. And inside there was this picture of us, and I asked him, will you be my boyfriend? So that was kind of different, but
A
again.
different story than most, but.
Yeah, we, December's kind of a thing for us. And this time last year.
We talked for a year. She asked me that December. We dated for a year. And then this time last year, not this time, a few weeks into December,
Yeah.
we got engaged on December 8th.
8th.
So.
Yeah, we did that at a tree farm.
Okay, so the backstory to our engagement was Christmas for us growing up was always a huge deal. My mom went all out, presents, decorations, whatever. It was like the highlight of the year. Christmas, my favorite holiday. And so one of the big traditions was cutting down and picking out our own tree from the tree farm. So for one, I don't understand people that have fake trees, and then number two, for her, she would always go to like the fire hall or produce junction or whatever and pick out a tree that's already sitting there. And I was like, whoa, 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 that is not Christmas. You have to go cut down your tree. We would spend hours. My mom would meticulously point out different flaws in them.
It's not that fun.
And so when it's a tradition as a little kid, you enjoy the farm, hot chocolate, bonfire, you can bring your dog, whatever. So to us growing up, it was always a huge thing to go pick out the tree. It'd be an all afternoon event with the whole family. So for her, that was never a big thing. And so for our engagement, kind of make it our tradition now, I had the tree decorated. We went to the tree farm to go pick out the tree without her knowing. There's one decorated there that said, "Will you marry me?" So when we came around the corner, I was there down on my knee and asked her to marry me.
So yeah, that was like, not this time last year, but pretty close. So then we got engaged, and then right away, like literally that day when we were throwing out ideas, I was like, I do not want a long engagement. It's just personal preference. I don't really want it to be.
At that stage, if you know, you know. And yeah, there's preparation involved in the wedding, but
right,
to
that,
drag
and
it
also
out,
I just
it
didn't
was
feel
just
like waiting forever is really that fun. Like I'm just like, okay, we're engaged, let's do this. So we decided on like 3.5 months for the most part.
The biggest
I
thing,
think it was.
to be honest, was to be married by your June family vacation.
Well, yeah, there were a lot of things at the timing. The timing actually really worked out. I wanted to be married before we thought we were going to have, like the summit, camp, vacation, all the different things that our church does in our families. So I didn't want to, wait and I just wanted to be married for all of those things. So we kind of decided on doing a short engagement. So it was like 3.5 months, which I know some people think was
crazy.
Nuts when we told them. They're like, oh, this March? So anyway, we decided on that. And at first, we didn't even really know what COVID was yet at that point. I think my dad had like mentioned, oh, there's this virus. And I just kind of thought he was being dramatic. I'm like, yeah, some virus from China or wherever. I'm like, okay. Like I did not think anything of it. And then like most people. And then as time went on, we hit like January, February, and things were starting to close down. Things were starting to get a little bit more serious. It was all over the news. And so even though into the beginning of March we went to a tournament, even then it seemed like everything was still going to be fine with the wedding. Like nothing had really cracked down for the most part. So we thought, okay, everything's just still going to be fine. March 28th, it was originally planned. So we were like, okay, everything seems fine. I made all my plans, looked around for the dress, was ordering all the things for my reception, planning it all out. And then...
planning the honeymoon?
Yes.
Was a big thing.
So then around, I guess, was it like only like 2 weeks or...
It was not
2.5
far in advance.
probably before our wedding.
Not,
My dad pulled us in and was like, look, the governor's saying no weddings, no funerals, crowds. I think at that time, what was it, like less than 20 or something like that.
50 or something, yeah.
Yeah.
It was impossible basically to have family and close friends to even attend an indoor gathering.
Right. So in that moment, I kind of thought like, okay.
And that was probably 2.5 weeks
Right.
before. It was not like we had months.
And I thought, okay, maybe it's going to have to be a little smaller than I thought or something, but I was like, I'm sure it's all going to work out. Like in my mind, those type things you just think, okay, people might be a little dramatic and it's all, whatever, it's all going to be fine. But it really actually just kept getting worse. So like we had planned the honeymoon, which...
So for the honeymoon, we were going to start off, go 2 nights in Ocean City, relax full, don't have to catch a flight early morning, day after the wedding, just relax. 2 nights in Ocean City, fly out, go to Overwater Bungalow, actually, in a all-inclusive resort, Jamaica, at the Sandals Resort, do an Overwater Bungalow, and then from there, fly and do a cruise. We were doing all these different destination things, do a cruise, and then fly home, and it was about 10 to 12 days total for the entire honeymoon. Dream honeymoon, wow, we get to do everything.
And this was all set
in stone, everything's
until
bought,
literally
paid, tickets.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like all at once. It was one thing after the next after the next. So you got the thing about no weddings, okay? Well,
right. So we were told at first
through.
that was first. They told us, okay, you're gonna have to either cut back your crowd majorly or not even literally be able to have a wedding with people there. And then,
Sure,
as if that wasn't bad enough.
And I mean,
Yeah.
whatever, ladies or people that are married here know the stress of a wedding and wanting everything perfect. So she just gets bad news after bad news, day after day for the 2 weeks prior. It was just one thing after the next. So first thing to go was our cruise, actually, that got canceled on us. So I called her, hey, we're not able to do the cruise. They call, that's canceled. And so we still had this. Do we extend the Overwater Bungalow? What do we do? And we're good for Ocean City. We're good for the Overwater Bungalow. Okay, good. Probably 2 days later, the Ocean City Resort hotel there calls and says, hey, we're actually canceling all reservations until, and back then it was the 2-week notice or whatever, and we just fell outside of that. So that was canceled. So I called her. Sorry to say, but Ocean City is now canceled. Well, at least we got the Overwater Bungalow. That's all we cared about, really, the highlight of the trip. And I remember she was already stressed out about something that day. I think you were with your mom cleaning, not in the greatest moods. And I had called the resort to confirm. This was a Thursday. Hey, we are good to go. It was next week. Next Friday, whatever, we're supposed to get married, be there Monday. Everything good to go with you guys? Yes, yes, yes. Friday morning, I get an email. I saw it. I didn't say anything. And then they ended up calling me in the afternoon. And I remember calling her and saying, well, we absolutely have 0 honeymoon right now. Cannot do anything. The Overwater Bungalow is canceled. And so that was just one after the other event taking place. And so then from there, the wedding is in a week, no honeymoon, not sure what we're even doing for the wedding.
Right.
And so we just started looking anywhere open. And
Yeah. So basically, in summary, we literally, everything we had planned for our honeymoon got blown up. And then it was like that same week, the week before, that we still had to decide what exactly we were going to do for the actual wedding ceremony. So my dad pretty much just sat us down and said, look, you have like 3 options. And even, well, we'll get to that. But the first one was kind of just us, our parents in a living room, get married, live stream for our family, whatever. And then the other option was that we could wait and get married, you know, hopefully when some stuff was going to clear up. But we kind of felt like, well, who knows? You know, everything's been by day getting worse, or even just different than we had expected. Like each day we would go, well, at least we have this, or at least this, and then the next day it would change. So in this moment, we're like, why would we push it? Because what if we, you know, something even crazier happens? So the third option, and what we kind of did, you know, hoping it was okay, my dad actually got approval from our local government, was to do the drive-in wedding. So to me, I am, you know, I'm a pastor's kid. I love my church family. So does he. He's, you know, his family's been involved our whole lives. So we definitely felt more inclined to do the third option of have everybody still be able to come. Yeah, they'd have to sit in their cars, but at least they would be able to be there in person and get the experience, and we could feel like it was a wedding day. You know, I didn't really feel like if I showed up in my living room, it would feel that, you know, that feeling of like, oh, this energy, this excitement. So we chose that, and basically how we both feel about it, we'll talk a little bit about that now. In the moment, I personally, with my wedding, I'm not like most girls that have like, you know, tons of books and planning, and they love the details, and you know, they want to just search for days and months about the perfect this, perfect that. My personality is like, I know what I like, and if this will be great, whatever's cheapest, whatever's easiest, as long as it's what I like, you know, if it looks good to me, then I don't really care where it came from. You know, I just wanted to look what I kind of have in my mind. But I was like all in for my mom's help, whoever's help, I didn't really care. So my personality is a little bit more go with the flow. I kind of get that from the way we were raised. My dad was a very spur of the moment, like, you know, throw your things in a bag. We're heading off to go, you know, on some trip that I had no clue about. So I was very used to these last minute things. So some people ask me like, oh, were you devastated? Like your dream wedding? I truthfully, up till like right before we got married, I didn't even really know what colors I wanted to do. I figured I like plain things like neutrals. So I knew I kind of picked that theme. I like candles, I like greenery, those kind of things. But I didn't really have like some, you know, horrible feeling of like, oh, I'm not getting this dream wedding that I wanted. I kind of felt like, if anything, it was kind of cool that I didn't really have to do anything. None of my family had to do these hours of setup and this long reception. And yeah, it would have been cool. Like we wanted to have cheesesteaks. That was something unique and special to my favorite food. So that was something that I looked forward to. Obviously you want to see family and get to hang out with them and there's a lot of different things that, we were excited about. I wanted, the auditorium to walk down the middle aisle with my dad. I'd always envisioned that in our auditorium. So there were things, like, I'm not going to lie, that were disappointing, or things that I think, but in the moment, I can't say that either one of us really felt that disappointed. Everything in the world, like, if it was just our wedding that all this stuff was blowing up with, maybe I think it would have been, like, definitely disappointing. But because our whole country, even the world, was going through this never before experiences, we almost felt like, okay, it's still a relief that we just get to get married, and this is exciting, and we still get to have our family, we still get to have our church family. It's not worth stressing about or being upset about all the little details. Let's just enjoy and make the day that it is the best day possible. So yeah, it was disappointing, but really, I think for me, it sounds dumb, but I told him, I think that actually the most disappointing thing for me were the small things that I couldn't do. I'm like, look, if I can't have my wedding in the auditorium, if I can't have my reception, if I can't have my dream honeymoon, that's already bad enough, but, like, I couldn't even get my nails done or my hair. So, like, my cousin was at my house doing my hair. I got these Walmart glue-ons that were so ghetto for my nails, and I'm doing my own the night before in my room. Like, I couldn't have all the girls over for a fun night before. I couldn't do, like, a lot of the things. That we had no rehearsal dinner, which, if you saw my post, though, my dad actually took me out. That was kind of cool. We ate
Back of the van.
Steak in the back of my Uncle Mike's van, set up a table. So that was fun. But if there's anything I actually felt like was disappointing, it would be the small things. Like, I was like, okay, this is a little bit thrown together. I was out there in my dress. My cousin lent me her veil last minute. Like, everything was a little bit last minute. But I think we both feel like, and he can give input on it, but I would say what I learned the most from it, or my overall view, was that I think we both feel that it was very, very unique, and in a good way. Like, everyone will be able to look back and remember that as something that was so different and cool, and like, oh, remember that wedding? And I think for us in the moment, it was kind of fun. There was something about it that was just fun. It was the challenges that were fun. We were all trying to make things work, make things happen. And in the moment, it was just exciting. We still got to get married. We still got to get pictures done, and we still got to see family and friends. So yeah, things were disappointing. Things were not how we had planned. But when we look back on it, we both feel like it was almost kind of cool, and we were kind of happy that it happened to us. Yeah. Like, it made it so much more interesting and special. And yeah, it worked out. We went somewhere warm for our honeymoon, of all places, Arizona. But we rented this really nice house with a pool, and when we look back on it, it was still like the best week of our lives. And there's nothing about it that to me was like, oh, this is just the worst. Like, we just decided in the moment we were just going to make lemonade with these lemons that were thrown at us. And I think, not in a bragging way at all, I think we both honestly did very well at just coping with it, rolling with it, and still having the best time. And again, it kind of made it even more fun, like doing all the challenges and laughing about it. And like, we were like the only two people in, like, it felt like, in the whole airport. And so everything was just different, but it all worked out. And obviously, first and foremost, we felt like obviously God was in it, and that he took care of all the things and made it just as special, and helped us to, by his grace, be positive through it all, and to really all of it to come together in the end.
I would say for me, the actual wedding part of it, for me, I feel like it was a lot better because I'm more of a shy personality. Front of a whole
Yeah, that's true for
auditorium.
both of us, I think, actually. Forgot that.
Supposed to be a ton of people there. It's like, okay. So that part of it, stressing the actual wedding ceremony, and just wanting it to be over and done with, to be honest, kind of went away when everyone's just sitting out in their cars, beeping their horns, and they're out in the parking lot watching from their car. So that part of it was actually nice for me. Obviously, the entire time I was feeling bad for her. I wanted it to be her big day. It's all about her, and here we are. So I think the hardest part was not stressing, but caring that she's not getting what she's always dreamed of from a little girl, and the different parts. For me personally, the hardest part of it would be all my family's out of state, and so day of the wedding, it was just my mom and dad. My dad, I had already asked him to be my best man, and so
I asked my mom actually to be my matron of honor too, so we
So
both.
they were both there, my parents, but I have 3 sisters all lived out of state. My grandparents live in Florida. Everybody dispersed. And so what was nice was we had the capability of doing the live stream. And so everybody was able to watch it. We FaceTimed after. And then they were upset as well that they could not be there. But I would say for me, that would probably be the hardest. And then also we were supposed to have a large bridal party. What was it, 10 each?
Yeah.
And
10.
so we asked all of our close friends, whatever, different people to be in it. And so feeling bad for them not being able to be a part. Yes, they were asked, but we never had anything / pictures or whatever with them. And so some of them still, day of the wedding, if we did, they didn't even have their suits because cleaners were closed. And it was just, so I would say for me, the hardest part would be, or the worst part of that, the quarantine wedding, would be my out-of-state family not being able to be there and in person.
So basically, what he just said actually is, if I could title the whole thing, that would be it right there, that we couldn't control anything. And once we realized that God was in control and that he knew and had his hand in all of this, that was like our peace. And that's what helped us to just be able to move forward, enjoy the wedding, enjoy the honeymoon, realize that even if we wanted to, we couldn't have changed anything. And that's kind of what made it more exciting. Like, God knows, let's just roll with this. Let's have a good time with it. And in the end, we were married and we had a great honeymoon. So yeah, that's basically the story of us and how that all
Quarantine
happened.
wedding.
Yeah, I know sometimes people say, everybody's asked me. I'm not making that up. I've had a lot of people ask me, especially when we travel, like, oh, I heard you got married in quarantine. So I just figured it would be good to just talk about it and maybe help somebody else if you're about to get married and you don't really know how to handle some things, or you're trying not to be disappointed. Hopefully that can help you
Or
a
just
little
anybody,
bit.
your plans change, God changes things. Just realize he's in control, and
Yep.
some situations you can't handle. So seeing how God worked it out, and we still were able to get married, and here we are, 7 months later?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thank you for watching.